On the podcast, it's Budget Week, so let me tell you the 14 things that I would do if I was putting it together. My top 14 list. Don't wait for Thursday for more of the same and what threatens to be possibly the most boring budget in New Zealand's history. What's up, Willis? Well, not much. I'll tell you what I would do, what they should do, but won't do, because they ain't got the balls. So let's go.
Are we paying these people to front up, or are we paying them to fly to Wellington to eat their lunch? Should you really lose your career for refusing to take part in a 90-minute lesson about Māori culture? This government doesn't actually have any idea how to get economic growth. Show us what you made of, Prime Minister.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan, Garner.
Okay, welcome to the program, folks. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. You're with the Editor-in-Chief. I'm Duncan, Garner. Good evening. Please subscribe. That's the first message. If you do nothing else this week, then can you please subscribe to the podcast? It really helps us stay around and do our things. So, the freedom of independent media. Let me tell you what my budget would look like. See, you can't do this in mainstream media, but we can have some fun here, can't we? The budget is this Thursday. Nicola Willis will spend $150 billion to keep the lights on, to keep our schools going, our hospitals, Army, Air Force, Navy, public service of 62,000 pen pushers in their jobs. For some context, that's $15 billion more in this budget than Labor spent in its first budget in 2018. So if you think or suspect that this is a slash and burn, deep cuts type of government, think again. They're pretenders. They're not bold in any direction. They're status quo repeaters. Now, none of this is outside the square thinking. It's not transformational. It's not ripping the rug from under anyone. It's all well signalled, incremental. Nothing's transformational. And in many ways, they still cling to decades-old policy introduced by the Labor government. National ain't a reformer's backside. The National wants a second term, so it's not going to alarm anyone with serious reforms. It's not hard positioning itself as more economically credible than Labor right now, is it? It's easy to do that. Yeah, the truth remains that despite Labor being persona non grata right now, business largely does better under a big spending Labor government. A National government usually ushers us into a recession, as we've seen. So if Labor were criticised as big and bloated spenders by National, then National is the Michelin man. Or at least bad boy Bubby, because it can't stop spending. It's still having to borrow $500 million a week for this government to tick. Now, they've chipped away at a few things that they didn't like, but there's been nothing wholesale, nothing of note, nothing transformational. And like I said, if Labor was irresponsible, then what's this government? As it will spend $15 billion more this week than they did just 6 years ago. In saying that, they'll be spending less than if Labor had stayed in office. You see? So they are spending less, but it's still $15 billion more than Labor's first budget. That was just 6 years ago. Conservative, tight spenders. My ass, they can't stop spending your cash. More on that shortly. So it's $150 billion that will also pay for thousands of nurses, teachers, police officers, plus all the current entitlements, all the superannuation payments to almost 900,000 New Zealanders who all get the pension no matter how rich or poor they are. And then there's the 600,000 people receiving some form of welfare payment every week. Included in that is the 220,000 people getting the dole or the work seeker benefit. And 1 in 4 young people aged between 15 and 19 have left school and have gone straight onto the dole. Why do we allow this? I'll stop that in my budget, so stand by for all the details. Then there's all the working for families tax money, almost $3 billion a year. The government gives that back to the hundreds of thousands of families now receiving working for families. 54% of all New Zealand families get working for families. It was Labor's policy. National described it as communism by stealth, then loyally kept it and widened it and gave even more to working families, who quite frankly don't get paid enough to make ends meet here in New Zealand, so we top it up while working for families. Maybe the businesses who are doing really, really well, they may want to share that a bit more. Think about that. 220,000 people on the dole. And then 54% of all working families get their tax transferred back to them, working for families. Hello, is there anybody out there paying tax? Yeah, well, still a lot of people, but we can't keep handing out so much money to so many people doing nothing in New Zealand. It's not sustainable, especially if we want to have some choices with what to do with our taxpayer stash. But right now, we have few options. It's all spent. The tax is just all taken. All this goes to prove that we're a low-wage economy. We've got flat, low wages. Sadly, we're also a high-cost country. Housing, butter, food, power. New Zealanders are doing it so damn hard. Houses cost 10 times the average income. In my parents' day, it was 3 times. We have more social stress and problems now, and little wonder. My mother talks about the carefree days of little choice, but simple, more affordable times. Now we have a crash, bash, more desperate society where the rich are so much richer, the poor are truly rooted. We see in society people climbing over others to be first, and the cost of the basics have become criminal. Seriously, we're the best producers of milk and cheese and butter in the world, and we have to give up our first child in order to buy a house. It means we now treat, if you buy a house, you're truly sitting amongst the privileged. The lucky country suddenly means you're damn lucky if you can afford to live here. 75,000 people decided, bugger that. They left for Australia. But be careful when the government says, sorry, they got no money. They just gave the fancy film crews $155 million to help keep the film industry here. They've got money when it comes time to hobnob with the thespians, eh? Again, you almost have to keep giving that money, because if we didn't, they'd probably leave. So you've got to keep that industry here. Which winners do we pick? Still, we grew by tens of thousands of people, even taking into account all the Kiwis who bailed, because immigration's been open sesame. And I've got a plan for that too. I'll tell you more about that shortly. The Aussies were good to us. They sent us thousands of 501s in return for our hard-working, diligent, young and middle-aged Kiwis, educated, good workers. We sent them, we got the 501s. That's a fair swap. Many of them are scumbags who have been nothing but trouble, cost us heaps, stretched our resources, but they're the lucky country. So the lucky country awaits. This lucky country, over here, us, a midterm budget. No government makes a midterm budget sexy. I predict it will be boring, it will bore you senseless, it will drain the last remaining energy that you have in your body, trying to stay awake, just digesting it. That's why I'm doing what they should do today. Bring it forward. We're bringing the budget forward to today, a few days out. It's my plan. It's what they won't do. Truth is, National ain't a reforming wild nutbar government. They're a bit here and there. They ignore the things that really need to be addressed and pulled back and cut and narrowed and checked. Gutless, afraid to piss people off. They want to stay in office. That's the job of an MP. They want to be a government. Who wants to be in opposition? Look at Hipkins. Big L on his forehead. Another bunch of National's just another bunch of socialists in suits spending your money, because that's their job. And huge, harsh cuts would see anarchy in the streets. And principles? Well, if you don't like their first set of principles, let's get another. They'll open up the other side of their jacket. They're not conservative. They'll take all the tax they can, they'll spend it, and they're spending and they're still borrowing. Let's go.
It's the Slam Dunk.
So I'll keep this simple. I'll do what National won't do, okay? Because they're afraid of the fallout and they know the country's books need some major rework and huge changes, but it's not going to write its political suicide note so soon. Plus, they're not a government that truly believes in anything but power itself. So I don't sense we have a hugely principled government. But that's the best of the bunch that are there right now. I mean, who would want Hipkins, a depleted Māori party until they get back, and the Greens? Exactly. So here's what I would do. Grab your gonads government and a spine for the shiver to crawl up and help yourself to this. 1, I'd raise the age of eligibility for the pension from 65 to 67. I'd do that from 2035. Long term, that saves us tens of billions of dollars. We're living longer. The science and the evidence is undeniable. Drugs are keeping us alive. We can use the savings to fund better dementia care, old age care, and cancer care. Our population is ageing rapidly, and the costs will balloon. We simply have to make changes to the pension. Parties that say it's not needed are lying to your face, and National's scared of Winston and won't touch it, despite knowing that it has to be done. We're paying rich people vast sums of money that they don't need or don't even notice. Yet we have cuts to food banks, 20 people living in a house that's damp and mouldy, and we have cancer services that are amongst some of the worst and least sophisticated in the world. If we move money from where it's not needed and useful and into where it is needed and might save lives, then isn't that a vastly sort of common sense approach and the right thing to do? I would have thought so. Number 2, my second thing on health, I'd appoint a Minister of Cancer with their own department and budget and seriously elevate this issue. They would also be responsible for pharmac and the funding. I'd aim to have funding the same as Australia as a percentage of GDP within 5 years. 1 in 2 Kiwis by 2030 will have cancer, or they'll experience cancer in one way or another. We simply have to start saving lives and extending the lives of New Zealanders. Right now, it's a death sentence in this country. And we let every New Zealander down as a result of this. Kiwis expect their government to do better in this space. And right now, we've got empty promises, and this won't be accepted by New Zealanders. And given my dad died on budget day 15 years ago of cancer, that was this week, this is personal for me. At number 3, I'd give the best teachers annual bonuses of up to $5,000. So this is rewarding the best teachers. The unions will hate this, which is what motivates me. It motivates me to introduce this policy because it's been something we've needed to do for a long time. The principal of every school and the school board will need to identify the teachers who receive the annual bonuses. It's capped at 5 to 10 teachers in the primary school and 15 teachers in large colleges. The bonus also bonds the teacher to New Zealand for at least 2 more years. Good, eh? Paying good teachers a bit more because they're good. Number 4, I stop all school leavers from receiving the dole or welfare upon leaving school. You simply won't be eligible for welfare until you reach 21 years of age. And even then, you can only get it for 6 months of the year. You must do 6 months of work before you get it. as a minimum to sign up. If those school leavers aged 15 to 19, the party's over. Get a job, start training, get off the gaming, get off the porn sites and Pornhub and the PlayStation. We're too young to be doing nothing, and it is ridiculous. Our schooling system lets you walk out without a plan and sign up on welfare the next day. Party's over, folks. Find some work, create something. But start getting desperate because the endless free stash is over on day one. I mean, look at Isaac. Young, talented, and working. Come on, it's not that hard. At number 5, I would time limit welfare for all those on job seeker benefits too. 1 year is it. No more long lunches, no more long-term dependency. That's a sickness benefit. But if you're on job seeker, it's a 1 year benefit. Job seeker. You seek and you shall get, okay? But no more dole. Number 6, rather than pay people the dole to stay home, I'll allow the money to be used as a subsidy to get them in the door of the workplace. Like a subsidy. That makes sense. So you'll pay the business $300 to kickstart the job for me. That's a brilliant idea. Number 7, I'd set up a proper review of every job in the public service and ask, if that makes New Zealand better, does it make it bolder and does it make New Zealand richer and faster, and do we really need this job? It would take a year minimum to do this review, but I'd expect thousands of roles to disappear and many, many more to be created. But we've got to start thinking differently. I think the public service holds us back a bit. We need to think what's possible. At number 8, I would create one major infrastructure project of national importance and significance and start work on it. And I'd make it the new Auckland Harbour crossing in Auckland. I'd make it immediate. I'd start it immediately, and it would take trains to the North Shore, like they do in West Auckland, but take it to the North Shore. Auckland's getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. It needs new options to begin and not just talked about. So there we go. It's a massive project. Now we have a competition on what to name it, What to name it. Number 9, I'd reduce Parliament to 99 MPs. 120 is a waste of space and time and money. And number 10, I'd get all MPs to sign a declaration that they adhere to the rules of Parliament, and I'd get them all to sign resignation letters in advance should they engage in time-wasting antics like the Māori Party. The Speaker would hold all the letters in his top drawer and pull them out and remove MPs who break their promise, like Te Pāti Māori. Watch them fall into line. But basically, the resignations are all there in advance, like Muldoon did. And number 11, I'd bring KiwiSaver kickstarts back for all people under the age of 18. $1,000 from the government would kickstart your savings scheme so you can sign up to KiwiSaver. It has to be an incentive, otherwise what's the point? So under the age of 18, you get $1,000 to kickstart it. And I'll make the minimum contribution 5% for workers and 5% for employers, phased in over 3 years. But we're not saving enough. We're poor compared to Australia, and we've got to do better. Otherwise, we're going to be in real trouble. Number 12, the Best Start New Baby payment would only go to those on the minimum wage. We're paying rich people to have babies. It's the most stupid policy I've ever known. Hey, you're in a great job and you can afford anything, and we're going to give you money to have a baby? Piss off. At number 13, the winter energy payments scrapped entirely. As the majority owner of the power companies, I'd regulate power prices so they stop ripping us off. If the bosses don't like it, they can always leave and there's flights to Australia. But I would cap some prices so you don't need a winter energy payment. We save money. 14, cut business tax to be competitive with everybody else. We're too high. We're no longer competitive. We're with the outliers of the world now. We're not competitive. Why would a business come here? We are, in fact, amongst the highest corporate tax rate in the world. That'll do. It's a big list. Doable, credible, and dare I say, it may even be transformational. I hate that word. I can't believe I said it. Let's just hope it works and gets us back to being positive again.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Right, I'm going to go for an immediate review of those 14 policies. 14 policies. The budget would have been read in 20 minutes, so all over. Christchurch producer Isaac, is there something in there that you like?
I got to say, yeah.
Yeah, I got to vote.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there. Some stuff that I'm kind of like, I don't know how you'd police that, but I like the idea. I like the mindset behind it.
The great thing is I don't have to police anything. I'm not in government. It's so good.
I do. The KiwiSaver Kickstart is a good idea. It will just encourage people to get behind that quicker and earlier in their working life. $1,000 per person is a lot, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it's not. Compared to paying them.
It's what it used to be.
However much money they get a week when they're on the dole. So $1,000 as a one-off payment definitely doesn't seem as bad.
Yep. No dole until you're 21.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Get off your ass,
I think I do agree with you.
The
idea of kind of the idea of kind of getting out of high school and or even getting out of uni and then not having a plan or not having the motivation to even get behind or get a job, whatever you're doing. It can be a little bit ridiculous sometimes, and I definitely know people who take advantage of that system.
Yeah, and they're on welfare for 20 years as a result.
Yes, yeah, and so this is that. I think that's pretty good. I like the teacher bonus as well. A lot of cash for teachers, and potentially a lot of people getting a bit of extra dosh.
Good.
At the end of the year, but at the same time, we do need teachers, and we do need them to stay in New Zealand. So that's what definitely one way to do it.
Well, it would bond them there. It would bond them here, and give them an incentive to perform better. And we need performance matters,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'd say all in all, I was pretty happy with all that.
Minister of Cancer.
Yeah, I like that idea. We've had plenty of interviews on this show about, from the Cancer Society and people who have it, or people who have family members that have it. It's obviously a very prominent issue, not only in New Zealand, all around the world. And so to have someone more focused on that with more funding going into that is definitely a great plan, especially considering, we've interviewed so many people who have to spend so much money to get into a completely different country just to get to, like, some of the most basic levels of care for cancer as well. So yeah.
And see, this puts pressure on Hipkins to agree with me, you see, because they won't like the idea of pushing New Zealand Super out to age 67. But you know what? We've got to get with the program. Other countries have done this. The Aussies have done this. All our contemporaries have done this. We're living longer, mate. We're healthier. I mean, look at me. I mean, how good do I look for 21? So you know what I mean? Though we're living longer. The evidence is undeniable.
Yep. Yeah, can't argue with it.
This will save heaps. I've just given you another 2 years of work. You should be saying thank you. And what else? Oh yeah, reviewing the public service. That's a long-term thing. But there are so many jobs that I think aren't necessary, and there are jobs that aren't even there that we need. We need to be creating growth. We need to be focusing on exports, and we need to reach out to the world. And we've got some sort of blinkered thinking, I think, in Wellington. So we need to modernise. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, why do we have we're one of the highest producers of dairy products in the world, but we have to pay an arm and a leg just to get a bit of cheese and some eggs. It's like
that's because of international prices. But dairy farm mates of mine, they seem to be doing all right, and because we're paying through the nose. What's the payoff for New Zealand? What in New Zealand is what do we get back from Fonterra? What's that? What's the benefit for us? Dirty rivers? No, it's not a benefit. High prices? No, that's good for the growers. What do we get? I don't know. It just worries me there. Business tax can come down. We need to attract companies here somehow. We're not doing it with a high tax rate. Yeah. So I'm not ripping anything off too many people. There's some incentive stuff in there as well. I mean, teachers aren't traditional supporters of my party, and they'll be surprised to see the bonuses in there. Always tack into the sort of other guy's territory. It's
exactly.
God, maybe I should stand for office. No, people would open the bonus. They'd forget the skeletons out of the closet, wouldn't they? And they'd parade them for days.
As they always do.
Yeah. Okay, brother. I always knew you're just mature. I'd probably put you on a government committee or board or something, given your reaction.
I don't have the patience for that.
Okay.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Okay, lead us to the editor. There's a few coming there. This is from, this is a strange one. Duncan, Stuff Group's taken out 11 of the country's top journalism prizes in Friday night's Voyager Media Awards, including the coveted Digital News Provider of the Year. Really? ? Now, I did get back to this guy, and I said, maybe they were the only ones who entered. And he said, that possibly is the case. Duncan, thank you for the piece in The Listener and for being someone who understands and advocates for solutions. We're so grateful for you, and your message gave the B416 a big boost today. Thanks so much, Cecilia Robinson. Now, she's set up My Food Bag. She's one of New Zealand's most successful business people. So it's nice to hear from them. And they're pleased with our position and what we've been doing on the social media stuff. And I've put this in here too. I want to talk to you about this. Patient Voice Aotearoa, Malcolm Mulholland. They have released today detailed information about extreme shortages in our rural hospitals all around New Zealand. I think this is a real concern. And I'll read you out where they need doctors. This is the areas where they're short of doctors in our hospitals. So this is over the coming winter months. These are the places that won't have enough doctors. Okay, Dargaville, Wanganui, Gisborne, Southland, Bay of Islands, Ashburton, Kaua, Westport, Taumarunui, Tokoroa, Whakatane, Whakatane needs 71 emergency department shifts from May to July. That's how short that. Thames needs 67 shifts from May to August. Kaitaia needs 65 shifts, July to December. Oamaru needs 59 shifts. Masterton needs 36 shifts. Greymouth needs 24 shifts. Blenheim needs 23 shifts. Nelson needs 17 shifts, May to June. Timaru needs 11 shifts. Balclutha needs a week in October. Taupo needs 3 shifts in June. Well, where are we not short of doctors?
Yeah. That's
It's
a big
bad,
old chunk
isn't
of
it?
New Zealand, that is. Yeah.
You know, this budget this week has to address... We need to bond doctors. We need to incentivise them to come back. We need doctors, mate. Am I being alarmist, or does everything seem broken? We need doctors, man. We need doctors. I don't think New Zealanders begrudge us paying doctors and incentivising and putting money into health to get doctors. They're quite a crucial,
Yeah,
aren't they?
surely not.
You know?
Yeah, I'm sure you could find someone that would disagree with that, though.
Stop wasting money on bullshit things. You know? We're still paying the rich to retire, yet we don't have the doctors in hospitals. So all these rich old people get money, because that was the deal, and we don't have the doctors to look after them. Come on, we're silly.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit backwards, isn't it?
God, I might make you my party secretary. I think, yeah. I might make you the party deputy leader.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.
Okay, thanks for your feedback, folks, and support. Isaac, thank you, brother. Thank you for, putting up with me. Get in touch with our social media, Duncan Garner Podcast on TikTok, Instagram. Flick us an email, duncan@rover.nz to my team. You know the fella. Thank you, mate. We'll do it again tomorrow. And remember, live stage dress rehearsal. No curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth, despite having no doctors. So get out and enjoy it. If you see a doctor, grab him, grab her, take her to the hospital, and lock her inside, okay? Lock the door from the outside. Have a great day and a good evening. Take care.
Editor-in-Chief with Duncan Garner.